They got that shit on though.
Hey everybody, it's King Gamma. Welcome back to the channel. I'm King Gamma and this is my lovely fiance. Introduce yourself, dear.
This just feel wrong.
What?
Hi, I'm King Gamma, and welcome back to you listening to me yap about You got something to say? That's what I thought. Monster High. I'm King Gamma, and if this is your first time seeing me, you're wrong. You should be watching part 1. This is actually part 2 to making my fiance watch all of the G1 Monster High movies. So there's probably a card up there in the little I button for you to go watch that first. But if you don't want to, that's fine. They're not exactly... They are chronological, actually. No, never mind. I forgot. Yes, they are. You have to go watch the other video first.
We didn't watch them in order.
We sure didn't, did we? Huh? Wow. I forgot about that. Wow. You know what? I'm sorry. Make your own choices. You're your own person. My bad. If this is the second New Era King Gamma video you've seen, then congratulations. You all hit the like goal. If this is the third or fourth New Era King Gamma video you've seen, why didn't you hit the like goal?
Don't add that either.
Why not?
Don't add that.
Can I finish my joke? Damn,
No.
let me finish.
No.
We've got 6 more movies to talk about, so let's jump into... Wait, what's the first one? Fright's Camera Action is thankfully not another race war movie, but it does start with Draculaura hating on her own kind, which is a little closer than I'd like to be to another race war movie. But in her defense, the movie they were watching was basically just like Twilight, and if I was a vampire, I would fucking hate Twilight. Like, vampires must hate Twilight. So I can't be that mad at her. She's ticked off because everything they're getting about vampire royalty is just like flat out wrong. And she would know because she was literally there. And in the theater, she actually info drops that vampires haven't had a true queen in like 400 years because somebody lost the vampire's heart, which is supposed to lead them to the next queen. Everybody leaves the theater and the gang starts joking around about, oh man, wouldn't it be so funny if Draculaura was the next vampire queen? Which, you know, leads Gory to be like, ah, hell nah, she could never be the vampire queen. She doesn't even have her vampire powers. Which apparently in Monster High World, you don't get vampire powers until you do something like meaningful. I think they said Gory saved like a prime minister or some shit. Why were you even in place to save a prime minister? A vampire prime minister, not a human one. They wouldn't have cared about that. But like still, that's a jump, don't you think? Though you know what? Maybe that's why Gory's such a bitch. If I was a vampire and I saved a vampire prime minister to get my powers, yeah, bro, I would think I was hot shit too. Soon after that, we get to like the, I guess, vampire government grilling Stoker, who's like acting vampire king since they can't find the queen, which he likes it that way. So he's supposed to have been making efforts to find the queen, which is what they're grilling him about. And he's like, I'm looking, guys. I don't know. I don't fucking see her. And they're like, yeah, well, if you don't find her in like a week, we're gonna fucking kill you. He's like, you know what? Oh, I need a young, impressionable minor to groom right now so I can keep my position of power. Not my words. That's what he said. That was his plan. That's his plan. Those aren't my words. I didn't say that. Don't. Please don't take that out of context. Please don't take that out of context. Stoker's plan is to, instead of finding the real queen, find a weak-willed vampire that he can put in the chair and puppeteer from, you know, behind the chair. Which is basically, he picks Draculaura. And listen, he didn't like physically say that was his plan, but like functionally that is his plan. So Stoker knows that the next vampire queen is actually supposed to be his niece Elizabeth. However, Stoker doesn't know where Elizabeth is. Nor does he want to know, because like I said, he's acting vampire king. Yeah, I wouldn't want to find her either. But he doesn't know where Elizabeth is because she ran off with the vampire's heart. The only thing that could have helped them find her. And it's been 400 years, so she's long gone. The reason he picks Draculaura is he remembers her from the vampire court where she was like still kind of new to being a vampire. So yeah, she probably was kind of weak and reserved. Like he goes to Monster High. They call Dracula up to the office. He even brings like a fake vampire's heart that like lights up. Listen, I'm not gonna say it's good that he's trying to groom her, but like he really put his all into grooming that minor. Damn, Dracula convinces Headmistress Bloodgood to let her take a few friends along, right? And they all go to Transylvania, and they find out that Hoodoo actually snuck aboard the, actually I forgot, was it a train or I don't remember, that's not important, huh? He snuck aboard, so he's here too now for the rest of the movie, which is fine for most people. Liz fucking hates Hoodoo, so not fine for her.
He makes me uncomfortable.
Hoodoo hasn't done anything.
Visually.
Oh, that's fair.
They get there and Stoker like immediately fails Groomers 101. Because not only does she find out that she's the fake queen, but she also finds out that the vampire's heart is fake and that Elizabeth is supposed to be the real queen. Terrible showmanship on his part. But you know, he kind of just goes like, yeah, so what? You still gonna fucking listen to me? Yeah, he really put a lot of effort into the setup. Not so much the follow through. You know, you gotta, when you throw a ball, you gotta have that follow through. You know, his follow through was weak. So Dracula goes and tells her friends that she's the fake queen, and they find a letter from Elizabeth leading them to London, where Claudine's ridiculously fine ass older sister is. Oh my god. And then they find another clue that leads them to, I'm sorry, I gotta look at my script. They got monster names for all their monster cities. I don't know how these cities work. What is it? Where is it? New Orleans. Actually, real quick, can we talk about the cities? I have a theory on how the cities work, like on the map. So we know that there's like human city. We know there's still human cities. There's monster cities, right? So my theory is on the world map, like let's say, I don't know what Paris is shaped like, so just like bear with me. Let's say Paris is like here in this area, right? Paris, just Paris, nothing else. I'm thinking here is Paris, France, and over here in that same chunk is Scaris, France. That's what I think. Is like they're all next to each other. They just kind of split the territory in half for most places, at least. Maybe some of them have been like fully taken over by one or the other. I'm probably wrong. I don't think they ever explained that though. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. They go to New Orleans where they meet Honey, who I actually really like Honey. I like her design. I like her afro. It moves. They put a lot of animation budget in that afro. She's also just kind of fine. I have a type. I obviously have a type. She's a film student. She's here trying to get some, film for a project. But she ends up getting dragged along for the rest of the journey because they, after the boat sinks, they sunk a boat. They find another clue, which leads them to Bullywood. God damn it! I gotta look at the script again. Did I not write the name of the location they went to? Oh my god, I don't think I wrote it. Anyway, the poster of the actress from the Twilight movie holding the vampire heart, along with all the other clues they found, leads them to believe that Elizabeth must have given the vampire's heart to Veronica, the actress. They go to Bullywood, I think it's Bullywood. Drop off some characters. We lose Double Fine Shite. Claudine's sister Claudia gets dropped off with like one of her favorite writers. She's interning. Honey Swamp gets dropped off on a movie set. She's jumped from film student to movie set. And they also run into Veronica's makeup person, who is actually, I think she's Deuce's cousin, actually. But she's also fine as fuck. It's just, we gaining and losing fine shites left and right, left and right, left and right. So they get into Veronica's trailer, and let's be so fucking serious, we all knew this. Veronica is Elizabeth. She left to be an actress like she always wanted to be. And they're telling her, look, the vampires need their queen. And she's like, I don't really give a fuck, dude. I don't want to go back there. Defeated, they leave the trailer. And while the girls are trying to figure out what they're going to do next, Stoker shows back up. And he, gives his villain speech. It's then that Elizabeth shows back up, grew a conscience, I guess, and decides to, take her place as queen of the vampires. So they take care of Stoker, they get the movie wrapped up, we skip to the premiere, everyone's walking the carpet, and, everything's cool, the movie ends. There was a side plot. I didn't mention it because it's not important, because it's just the argument of, oh my god, Edward or Jacob. And unlike in real life, though, it is revealed that they're just like, wait a sec. Gully is presiding over the court case. She's like, wait a second. Mixed pictures, light and frame. They're the same dude. It's the same dude. I thought that was funny. Now, something I do like about these movies is they don't act like the other ones just never happened. I know a lot of old kids, girl movies or whatever, they didn't really have like a continuity, I don't think. They just kind of was like, here's the movie, here's the next Barbie movie, here's the next Barbie movie, and they aren't connected. These ones are. I can't remember off the top of my head which movie it is, but Draculaura does use her newfound vampire powers in a different movie down the line. So I do appreciate that they reference each other. Kind of like in this next one. Monster High is about to release for spring break, and Laguna's parents have arranged for her and all her friends to go to this Great Scary Reef, where I guess she's from. Gil's bum ass doesn't have any plans, so she thought she'd surprise him and say, surprise, I'm bringing you with me so that you can finally meet my parents. And obviously he's scared to meet her parents, but not for like normal teenage boy reasons. He's scared because the racism his parents have set within him is so deep that he just assumes Laguna's parents are going to hate him because he's saltwater and they're fresh. No, wait. No, he's freshwater, they're saltwater. I don't keep up with the monster racism, alright? I like to stay out of the drama. Okay, bear with me, please. Now, they're on their way, down the steps to get to the boat. When did Cleo have time to cut her hair? And why are they getting attacked by a kraken? Is this a normal issue for like monster boats? Is this a normal issue for like normal boats? Do human boats in this world come equipped with guns so that they can deal with krakens? Because I maybe they should be. I feel like that would be smart and wise. So they get picked up by this like obviously suspicious guy named Farnham, who basically wants to bring the Hulk home for freak sideshows. And he notices that Frankie looks basically just like the scientist that could keep the Hulk calm. So instead of taking them to the Great Scary Reef, he brings them to Skull Shores, where him and the Tiki that live there plan to use Frankie as bait to capture the monster. To that end, the Tiki treat Frankie like royalty, and they treat Cleo like any other bitch, which drives her up a wall. And like, it's not important, but it is funny seeing her tweet out. Cleo's actually my second favorite. It's Claudine, then Cleo. I love when they piss her off, though. I considered getting like some kind of Cleo or Claudine like tattoo, but like I couldn't decide on a design that wasn't corny. So I didn't do it. Laguna and Gil go snooping around Farnham's shit because they are way off course for the Great Scary Reef, and they won't even let her see a map. And that's where they find out about Farnham's plan and the scientist that looks just like Frankie. But while they're figuring this out, Farnham's putting a tracking necklace on Frankie, and the Tiki shoot her way up into the air to summon the beast. And of course, they fail at capturing the building-sized creature. Cleo, Claudine, and Draculaura chase after Frankie. Abby and Ghoulia fall in a... They left them in a hole. They do not fuck with them. But that leaves Laguna and Gil to follow, I guess, from like a side route to try to catch up to Farnham and them. And while all this is happening, Frankie is trying to convince the Beast that he should come to Monster High, where he'll actually be accepted for what he is. So I'm just gonna speed through what happens to everybody. Abby and Ghoulia do escape the hole by tricking the Tiki. She freezes them, they walk out, and she scolds them for listening to Farnham when he doesn't do shit for them and disrespects them at every turn. Cleo and Draculaura and Claudine, they find Frankie, and Laguna slips and falls down a slope and gets taken by Farnham and them. Do you want to ask me what Gil does? Ask me what Gil does. Please ask me what Gil does. Ask me what Gil does, bro. Ask me what he... Oh my god, I hate him. He's such a bum. He comes back later with like their old boat that the Kraken destroyed because he went to go talk to the Kraken, and somehow with its big slimy tentacles it fixed the boat because it felt bad. But like and off screen he went to go meet Laguna's parents and go, oh, they're actually pretty nice. I don't give a fuck that you get over your fear. Why'd you run off like that? Not even I'm gonna go get help. Like, you just ran and let her think that you abandoned her? And she stayed with him after this, y'all. I need you to understand. Look me in my eyes. She stayed with him after this, by the way. They did not break up. Anyway, they get back. The Beast goes with them. Farnham comes back. I don't care anymore. I don't even fucking like this movie. Now, I could take this time to talk about a movie that I do actually like, but instead, I just want to get this one out of the way because it sucks. So please take a brief moment and picture your favorite Monster High movie. So that you can either be pleasantly surprised when I don't pick your favorite, or fully understanding when I do pick one of the worst movies in the franchise. I don't care. Either way, you're gonna tell me why I'm wrong if you think I'm wrong in the comments. So, like, what does it matter, really? So this movie kind of blows. It's just, like, not that good. There's a school meet and Spectra's flying around desperate for a story to write about, and she asks Claudine if she's heard any gossip, and she's like, I'm kind of in the middle of fear leading, but like I'll help you find one later. Spectra's impatient ass can't wait, so she goes around and finds Toralei, who is pissed off because she's suspended from fear leading, which is crazy because A, I didn't know she was on the fear leading team, and B, why was her clapback to tell Spectra that the werewolves had werefleas? Why is Claudine catching a stray? She didn't get suspended because of Claudine. She got suspended because she got a bad grade. Scratch Claudine, why are the werewolves catching a stray? Was it a werewolf teacher? Anyway, that aside, I feel like the gossip girl should have probably known werefleas. I feel like everyone should have known werefleas don't exist. But okay, she writes the article. Everyone's looking at Claudine and Howleen and Claude crazy because they're like, oh man, they got werefleas. And Claudine's pissed off because she's like, you can't tell people we have werefleas. Those don't even exist. Your stories can hurt people. And she's like, oh. But she doesn't really give a fuck, but she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. But she doesn't really give a fuck. Meanwhile, Draculaura is being haunted by a ghost. And when she goes to ask Spectra about it, Spectra tweaks out and she flies off. It turns out that haunting monsters is against ghost law. There was this crazy ass ghost chick way back in the day. She ruined it for everybody. I think it's implied that she killed people. Like actual genuine monster ghostly threat. But she tweaks out and she goes up into the attic, where for some reason up in the attic they have a portal to the ghost world, which is fairly close to the ghost school that Spectra used to go to before she started coming to Monster High. There's a whole ghost school with a whole like ghost painter boy and a whole evil ghost woman posing as the ghost principal. It's just the evil chick, and she's like making everybody take detention so that she can pay off her chains of punishment with their detention time, and it's like a whole thing. And I don't really like this movie. It's not that good. I hate looking at like half the movie because the ghost school's colors are like super washed out and boring to look at. And like the other issue is like I just don't like Spectra. Like personally, if I told you, yeah, I'll help you out later, and I turn my head around and find out that you wrote a whole article slandering me and my species, bitch, I'm calling Ghostbusters. You wouldn't be flying around for the rest of this movie, but okay. They do have a ghost pirate girl, which is actually pretty cool. I do like her. I actually wasn't going to finish talking about this movie, but I have been informed by the resident I've been threatened by the resident Monster High expert that if I don't finish this movie, something might happen to me. So I do have to finish talking about it. So Spectra tried to sneak away to the ghost world to go try to figure out what's happening with Draculaura, and obviously the girls follow her and they land on the ferryman's boat, except this is a teenage girl movie. So no ferryman, we have the very teenage dead girl men. She helps them get to the school, but she also gives them these like ghost cloaks so that they can be disguised, since the CIA got to the ghost world too somehow, and ghosts think solids, non-ghost monsters are out to get them. So they pull up to the school and they actually run into Spectra's old friend Kiyomi, who is this like faceless ghost girl who apparently had like a major glow up. And they ask her if they know anything about Draculaura being haunted, and she lies and she flies away because it's really Kiyomi who's haunting her. She's been hanging around getting drip tips from the girls at Monster High, which I can't be mad at her for that, They got that shit on though. So I can't be upset with her for that, you know? Now, back in the cafeteria, they call it a creepateria. Back in the creepateria, that's when we meet Porter, who's doing graffiti because he's trying to, you know, rebel against the new detention chain thing. And there's a chase scene with him and the whole monitors. And he's flying circles around them until he crashes into Spectra and they have like a little, you know, Wattpad love interest moment or whatever. And but she gets his ass caught. Really, everybody kind of gets caught because of that. The principal kind of like sort of shows up and Spectra lets it slip that they're from Monster High, which they're not supposed to be here in that case. So she's 3 for 3 on L's right now. She got their cover blown, she got Porter caught, and she's spreading Werefly rumors. Remind me why I'm supposed to like Spectra? It's for these reasons that I feel like when the other girls escaped, but Spectra got caught up and stuck in ghost school, they should have left her ass there, let her gossip around them. But instead of leaving her there, they decided they've got to go back in and save her. But on their way out of the school, the principal made a new rule and punishment for bringing solids into the ghost world school, and they didn't want to get Spectra into even more trouble. So they went to Twyla, the daughter of the boogeyman, because the boogeyman has a bunch of monster sands that he can use to transform into other monsters. And they don't just work for him, they work for whoever. It's just, you know, he's the only one who has this stuff. So they go to her house, they find the ghost sand, they all use it so that they are technically allowed to be in Ghost World School, and they head out. Well, after learning how to move, they head out. Yeah, I guess getting a new dimensional way of moving and traveling is disorienting. So after some training, they head out. Meanwhile, Spectra is getting her like Omega flirt on with Porter. He's not even that cool. I'm hating, but like, am I really hating if he's kind of a bitch? She's getting her Omega flirt on, and they're flying around the school trying to figure out where these detention chains came from and like who the principal even is, because they went to the library and they tried to look her up and they couldn't find anything on the principal, who, speaking of which, just figured out how to reach out from the ghost world into Monster High and trap more ghost students up in Monster High. So that's not ideal. Her ultimate plan is actually to make all monsters ghosts and trap them all in the Ghost World School. So like, that's especially not good. And you would think to yourself, how the fuck is she gonna turn them all into ghosts? Well, they came back to the school as ghosts. They don't look any different. So she now obviously knows they have a way to turn themselves into ghosts, which I guess she assumed wasn't just murder. But obviously they have a way to do it. So now she's thinking, if I can just get them in here and figure out how they did that, everyone's a ghost. So Porter comes in and takes them to a secret hideout so that they have a safe place to stay. And then Porter gets kidnapped and he pretends to betray the girls so that they can ultimately beat Revenant. They royally tweaked out on him over this because, you know, he obviously didn't tell them the plan, but like, it was a smooth play. I give him that. I'll give him that. That doesn't mean I fuck with him, but I will give him that was a smooth play. I gotta let him have that one. But hey, just real quick, would anyone like to guess whose fault it was that the principal Revenant found out about the boogie sand? Anyone want to guess who let that slide? Okay, it was Claudine, actually, but like, it's Claudine. We're gonna give her a pass because it's her. She only found out about the boogie sand because Claudine was taking notes for Spectra on everything that had been happening so that she'd have a story after this. But like, she was doing it in front of the main villain. But once again, it's Claudine, so we're gonna let her slide on this one just this one time. The hall monitors leave to get the boogie sand, and the girls go to chew out Porter for betraying them, who reveals that he only did what he did so that he could swipe the chain transferring key off of Principal Revenant. So Porter takes all the chains onto himself so that the girls can go get all the Monster High ghosts out of Ghost World School and back to Monster High and get the hell out of Dodge. But on their way out, Spectra starts to realize Principal Revenant must have all these chains because she's being punished for something. And she had a lot of chains. So Spectra flies back in, gathers up all the Ghost World School students and makes an announcement and reveals to them that Principal Revenant is the Red Lady. And you know, she's right. She shows up, she reveals her true form, she enacts her plan. Hell, she succeeds. Here's where shit gets stupid. She did everything right was about to leave and got weighed down by moral dilemma. Bitch, she killed people. Are we fucking real? Yeah, this movie has a stupid ass ending. I don't like this movie. It's not a good one. It's got a dumbass ending. I get that it's like a kid's movie and we've got to like give the little girls good moral messages, but like, are we serious right now? Maybe the next movie can have a writing team that can tie the story up into a knot with a regular string and not the oiled up spaghetti noodle they use to write this shit. This shit looks like a Tangela. Now, I feel like I've made it very clear that Claudine is absolutely my favorite, but Cleo is like a very close second. If Cleo heard me say that, she would unleash a plague upon me and my family. Don't tell her I said that.
You want me to unleash a plague on them? Because I have a new amulet I've been dying to...
Why do you have a plague amulet?
So, this is Kitty Noir, pop star, just attends Monster High. She decided to come here to take a break from showbiz so that she could write a song she actually likes instead of whatever her ghostwriters are writing for her. Which, you know, is fair. I understand that. That's more than fair. It's just I feel like you could have did this in like Monster Ibiza. Ibiza? I'm sorry, that sucks. They wouldn't call it that. That sucks. But while that's happening, Cleo was told by her father that they're getting ready to go to New York for like a business trip, basically. But all Cleo heard was, I get to go to New York and bring my friends and do hood rat shit in New York. But also, she is determined to bring her man that she knows her family doesn't like, which I'm sure can only lead to great things. That's a great plan. Why the fuck are you bringing him? And they also bring Operetta for some reason and take all the damn melanin out of her design. I don't know who's on the design team, but bro, Operetta can, I refuse to believe Operetta's a white girl. I refuse to believe, I don't care if her hair does that naturally, I refuse to believe that's a white girl. She gotta be like, I don't know. They don't even let her really talk in this movie. I think she talks maybe like 3 times. I'm not even joking. The girls start exploring the city and they meet like this EDM robot girl, which is like not my favorite design or character, but it does lead to Cleo remembering that she's supposed to go and meet with like the elite mummy family of the city. So that moves the story along. We also meet Mercedes, who really isn't important. She just kind of lives here. Cleo, Nephra, and Deuce arrive and they meet Madame Ptolemy and her son Seth. Like I said, Deuce is here and...
What's up, Miss Ptolemy?
That actually went better than I thought it would have gone, so... They leave and Nephra and Ramses have a conversation about the comet that's coming in and how it's an old ancient mummy tradition and how promises made under that comet are unbreakable. So Ramses explains to Nephra how he wants her to marry Seth so that their families can be joined together, and one elite mummy powerful family plus one elite mummy powerful family equals one big powerful conglomerate ass family. And Nephra doesn't want to do that shit. So she figures she can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by A, making her sister miserable, and B, still getting the power. So she tells her father, why don't we make Cleo do it? She's got a bum ass man anyway who ain't worth a damn. Let's make her do it. So she begins Operation Get Rid of My Dog Deuce. And honestly, the CIA might have a position open for her because she barely did anything. This was a master plan of CIA mastery work. In the B plot, Caddy went off on her own a while ago and she met this guy called Pharaoh, and you take a guess who Pharaoh is. Honestly, it's not hard. And they fall for each other pretty quickly, which isn't great for the whole marry Seth off to one of the denial girls plan. Not that he gives a fuck. So last second, Seth stands up to his mom and tries to, no, I'm sorry, not tell her, sings to her. Yeah, this is a musical, by the way. I've been glossing over that fact because the songs aren't as good as I remember them being. The Boo York one is fire. It said, Boo York, Boo York. That one's fire. The rest of these songs are kind of ass. I don't even like musicals. There's some extra complications. Like Deuce actually broke up with Cleo for a bit because he was like, I am way too embarrassing to be with you. I only drag you down. I'm just gonna leave. And Toralei somehow, I forget how. I didn't write it into the script. There's a lot. It doesn't matter. She steals Seth and Caddy Noir's voices for a bit and goes to Broadway and they get him back. It doesn't matter. They get back, everything's cool. Seth stands up to his mom. She accepts him for who he is as Pharaoh. And like, there's an alien in the comet. There's an alien in the comet. It's a good movie. I like this movie. It's good. It's just, there's a lot happening. Okay, so now that we've gone over second best, we can get to the Claudine movie. I forgot about fucking Freaky Fusion. I still gotta talk about, God fucking damn it. So, how annoyed would you be if you had been alive for maybe, I don't know, 3 months, maybe a year, and your bitch ass teacher gave everyone a heritage project, and when you came to present yours and you went like, I've only been alive for a year, I don't really have any heritage, he said, fuck you, take a 0, go redo your project. Because that's how the movie starts. Well, I mean, that's how it starts after we meet the Fuse, who I hate, and we'll get to that later. But Rebecca, for her heritage project, brought this item that ends up leading the girls to her father, Hezekiah Steam's old workshop. It turns out her father, Hezekiah Steam, knew Frankie's grandfather, because he used to teach at Monster High. So they go down to his old workshop. Toralai's here for some reason, and Toralai messes with the machine in the middle of the room. Everything is Toralai's fault. She accidentally activates it, and it's a time machine, and it time travels them way back to when Frankie's grandfather attended Monster High. Yeah, this is a time travel movie. I did forget that this was a time travel movie. They get to the past, Toralai runs off, everyone groups up to go find her, and Frankie and Gulia end up in Hezekiah's classroom, where Frankie's grandfather, Sparky, is, and he goes out to prevent his heritage project, and he's like, I have no heritage, for I am an orphan! And he proceeds to present the family that he's tried to create, which would be like prototypes for Frankie's parents, basically. It's weird. He made parents for him, but they are also functionally Frankie's parents. So even though this is her grandfather, technically this would make, in his eyes, him and Frankie's sibling. It's weird. Anyway, they don't work, and Hezekiah says it's because you're a bum and you don't understand and you don't have the spark. And he's like, what the fuck is the spark? He just doesn't have any love in his heart. It's a whole, he figures it out later. He just has no love in his heart. Frankie goes to try to talk to him and cheer him up and be like, yeah, you know, you'll create life one day. It's possible. I was created. And she just says way too much, realizes she said too much, runs off, and he starts obsessing over her. And he's like, I've got to figure out how the fuck she was made so I can make my family. And he goes and he chases them back to the workshop and through the portal, but not before he fucks up the portal a little bit, so that when the girls jump through together, they come out fused. That's Freaky Fusion. That's hello, we're back to the A plot. That's the whole point of the movie, Freaky Fusion. Hello. They're freaking out, everyone's tweaking out. Some of these fusions aren't that bad. Some of these fusions are fucking nightmares. Cleo and Toralai are together. They hate each other. Laguna and Jennifer, who we haven't even met yet. I told you I let her pick these movies in whatever order she wanted to. We went out of order. Laguna and Jennifer are together. That is literally fire and water. That's terrible. Draculaura and Rebecca isn't that bad, actually. Gulia jumped in alone, so she's fine. She didn't fuse with anyone, and neither did Frankie. I almost forgot about Claudine and like Poison Ivy Jr. I don't actually know her name. That one's not terrible. It's a little awkward, but it's not bad. But it's still bad. Nobody can control their new combined power sets properly. It's still kind of bad. So they leave Gulia behind to fix the machine while they go try to deal with what's happening. Luckily for the girls, Loverboy, who was having a little moment with Frankie earlier, sees this and convinces his transfer fusion friends that he transferred in with to help them get used to their powers. And everybody gets real training except for Cleo and Toralai, who only get therapy. Which is fucking hilarious because they both need it individually. Meanwhile, Gulia, I think, left to take a break or something, but Sparky gets to modern day, grabs up a bunch of parts, and goes off to build like this giant Frankenstein robot. And he even used the time travel body fuser machine as like a central piece. So yeah, that's gonna be a problem later. But I just want to talk about why I hate the fusions. The fusions feel like such wasted potential. Not the girls, I mean like the actual born fusions. The only really good one, I feel, is the zombie unicorn guy. His fusion thing actually affects him. The other ones kind of don't. What's a ghost mermaid, bro? What's a ghost mermaid? Mermaids basically already fly through the water. So what, now you just fly all over the place? A ghost could, that's just such a nothing ass concept, you know? And then the other one was like a moth centaur or something, and like that, there was nothing there. She was just kind of a rude bitch sometimes.
Via tends to always.
I interrupt a lot.
Okay, actually, a good punch to the teeth, I hear, fixes that issue very fast, actually.
Really?
But like, there was no issue, no flaw there. The zombie unicorn guy, he has terrible motor skills. Like, they're not as bad as the normal zombies, but they make him clumsy. He at least has something going on that works in with what his fusion is, but the other two just kind of don't have that, and it's boring, and I feel like it could have been a cooler concept. So really, the zombie unicorn guy is the only one I actually like. That's fine, it's whatever. Sparky's robot goes berserk, and it starts capturing people in the time body thing, and that's, you know, that's how they're gonna get everyone unfused later when they all get pushed out of it. But also Frankie like straight up dies in this movie. They brought her back with the spark of love and friendship or whatever, which is what causes Sparky to realize what the spark is that he's missing. So when he goes back to his time, obviously he makes Frankie's parents for real this time, and then Frankie goes home, and once they realize that she's gone through this timeline relevant event, that's when they give her the real heritage information, because they told her, yeah, you needed to go through that first before we can tell you about this stuff. Otherwise, a lot of loops just would not complete themselves. And like, I get that, I understand that, so I'm not mad at them, it makes perfect sense, yeah. Because also, Rebecca and them going back and talking to Hezekiah, and her leaving a note to her father saying, hey, I miss you, I hate that I don't get to see you anymore, but hey, I'm doing okay. And Hezekiah reading it and going like, I don't fucking have a daughter. I could make a daughter. A lot of loops got closed. It's cool. I like time travel movies, so I'm not tweaking over this. You know, some of y'all might have been tweaking over it, but I actually like time travel movies. So now we can finally talk about the Claudine movie, where once again the main victim is grooming victims. And if I had a nickel for every time one of the Monster High movies had the main villain grooming victims, I'd have 2 nickels. Maybe like 2.5. I don't know. It's been months since I watched these. I wrote this script months ago. I don't remember anymore. Alright, just bear with me, please. I don't even think I told y'all this now that I think about it. This is part 2. Liz is gonna rank these movies at the end of this part. I don't even think I think I forgot to mention that. Straight up. Oh wow. So this may be one of the coolest things I've actually seen. Claudine put together a flashing mob just because she could. Yes, I'm glazing. The thing is, Gulia recorded it and put it on Monster YouTube, where the top recommended video is probably like how to bring back your dead aunt for 30 minutes. And Claudine starts tweaking out because she doesn't want any high fashion designers to see this, because she's like, I didn't follow like a single rule of fashion when I made those outfits. But the outfits were fire, which is why I think it's so dumb that fashion has like rules. Like, what's the point of the rules if you can break them and still make flames? A high fashion designer actually did see the video before they took it down though. Claudine's favorite, actually. So she calls Claudine and 2 other girls to come to Scaris to study under her so that she can pick a new apprentice, because the last one she groomed is running out of ideas in his dungeon. So the girls go to Scaris and they bring Rochelle, who's from the roller derby movie that we didn't talk about in part 1 because I cut the video short for a bit. But she's from that movie. She's from Scaris, so she goes with them to be a guide, but also to hopefully find her man Garrett, who genetically engineered a rose bush for her, and she believes that he just stopped texting her one day. Sorry, no, he's French and romantic. sending her letters. And as Frankie keeps telling her, you're crazy for believing that the man engineered a rose bush for you. Something must have happened to Garrett. And I get that like a lot of these characters are like 16 or like the monster equivalent to 16 because like Draculaura is like 1600 and I looked it up. Rochelle is like 415. You've had 415 years. Girl, piece it together. That was my phone. Maybe I should calm down. Unfortunately, Toralei also stows away, so she's in this movie too. I do think she just wants to hang out with them and is too proud to admit that. I'm probably late on that theory. Somebody's probably theorized on this already. But for the sake of you all letting me have this, we're gonna act like I'm on time. So they touch down in Scaris, and Ghoulie and Frankie go with Rochelle to help her hopefully find her man. And she offers the other girls the family car, but yeah, for unknown reasons, they decided to walk. Now, the other girls take Ghoulia's moped and they crash it. So for most of the movie, Ghoulia is doing sideshows, doing everything under the sun to pay for a new moped, which I know is high. I looked up a motorbike from an anime called Golden Boy once. Like a motorbike from Italy. Unless I hit the lottery, that shit is never happening. So I know she performed her ass off. Claudine gets to Ghostier's place. She meets the other two students who, Jennifer and Skelita? I don't actually remember their names and I didn't write them. I kind of glazed over it because most of the rest of the scenes we see with Claudine in this movie are just her proving why she should never be left alone in a room with influential people. Because she didn't even try not to get groomed. Like she threw the sketchbook away. She got locked in a dungeon. Like it was bad. It was bad. And she didn't even try to fight back. It was like, oh my God. You just listened to everything she said. Made her change her whole design philosophies. The whole reason she got called down here and she was like, that shit. How do you think I would do it? It's like, bitch, you don't think that maybe she would have, if she wanted designs that she would have made, she would have just made her own designs? You don't think that maybe she called you here because of what you can be? And like, I get that she's like werewolf 16, but girl, piece it together. So she's in the dungeon now, literally in the cell right next to Garrett. And Ghostier takes her new sketchbook with all her Ghostier approved designs and goes to prepare for a fashion show. But while all this was happening, back at Monster High, Deuce is losing his rabbit ass mind because he doesn't have his fine shite ordering him around every 5 seconds. So oh, I'm sorry, how can I be so foolish? Claude was also losing his rabbit ass mind. Heath is here because Heath has to be here. Not for the plot, just for himself. Nobody wanted Heath there. We're not here to talk about the other generations today, but you know that in like G3, I think it's G3, he's like the devil's son or something, like just straight up. I don't know if that's who he is in G1. He's like just straight up the devil's son. Are we gonna talk about that? Bitch, this is Monster High, not Demon High. Why are you here? And that's crazy, but it really is also so funny because the only reason Monster High was outperforming Barbie and Bratz and shit, the only reason they got stopped was because the Christian moms kept complaining about how demonic it all looked. So that really is funny that we've come full circle and there's just now an actual straight up demon. So the guys touch down in Scaris and Claude picks up his sister's scent coming from like the catacombs, where thankfully Frankie and Rochelle have also found their way down there because earlier they saw Garrett's specially engineered roses growing from a sewer grate. So they've all come down, rendezvous, they got Claudine and Garrett out, there's a nice reunion, it's nice. But they're thinking now, we gotta embarrass this bitch. They go back to the studio, they get everybody together, they're snipping and cutting full moon werewolf powers, they're putting masterpieces together. Ghoulia got so much money that she was able to, I think, not only get her a new moped, but also fix up Rochelle's family's car, which is the only reason they made it to the fashion show on time. And they go out there and they mod Ghostier so bad that she literally fades into obscurity. Like she's poofed out of existence. I don't know if she was like running some kind of devil deal curse that made her fame tied to her like being existent. I don't know. She literally poofs out of existence. Like I get the joke, but I just feel like she's being a little dramatic. That's where the actual movie ends. What I forgot when I was showing this one to Liz was that there's actually a 16-minute short story where Claudine's sketchbook comes to life for some reason. Everyone acts like this is normal. Nobody asks questions. It comes to life and leads half the cast around the world before finally leading them back to Monster High. There was no reason behind this. Didn't need to happen. I get that they needed to fill time, but like you couldn't have filled it with... Anyway, it's not important. If you want to go watch it and you haven't seen it, go find the movie. It's not hard to find these movies.
Okay, so now that we've watched all the movies, we're going to have our ranking. I'm gonna leave the room in a second so she can rank hers. Dear,
Wait, why are you leaving the room?
So that we don't see each other's rankings. We're gonna review each other's rankings afterwards.
Banned from watching. There we go. It wasn't like the best. It was like okay or whatever, you know. It was cool. I like the plot. I like the addition of Rebecca. I think she's a really, really fun character. Actually, this one really just because of that one thing where she was like, "What does it mean to be alive?" That was crazy. Fight On was really just kind of okay. I didn't actually like it that much. I do not at all remember this one. I genuinely don't even know which one this is. 13 Wishes, definitely the best one. Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love, shortly after. Fuki Fusion was actually kind of cool. So was Fright's Camera Action or whatever. Honestly, I think that's about right, sure. And then I will switch now.
Hello everybody. I probably should have told her to turn this lamp on now that I think about it. Totally forgot to tell her to do that. Oh well. Booty meat tier. Yeah, that's gonna go in booty meat tier. And so are these actually, because I haven't seen them, but they're not from the original gen. And so I probably wouldn't fuck with them like that. Okay. This is all based off of like gut feeling. I have no criteria for this, but I will explain my choices. This is a cool little intro. It's just really not that important and not that consequential. This is literally just a sports movie. If I wanted to watch a sports movie about roller skating, you know what I'd go watch? I'd go watch Roll Bounce. I feel like I'm being a little unfair to Haunted actually. Haunted is not as bad as Friday Night Frights. Not that Friday Night Frights is bad, but I feel like I'm being a little unfair to Haunted. Okay, now we've done that, I'm gonna go get Mrs. Gamma, Liz, whatever you all end up calling her, and we're just gonna see if we agree or not. This is what I have. Tell me
Why do you have
what you think.
Why is it called booty meat?
Because these movies are booty meat.
Okay, very interesting that you have Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love at B tier. That's kind of crazy.
Is it crazy though?
B tier.
It's a B tier movie. I'll tell you what I told them.
Boo York is S tier for you?
Absolutely. If I had to pick a favorite, it would be between Boo York, and 13 Wishes. And you know that must mean something because I don't even like musicals.
That's fair. You don't like musicals.
Oh, I see you've renamed all of them. Banned from what? Yes, you have been. I'm so glad you understand.
Oh.
That's okay. Don't ask. Why don't ask?
It was definitely the least... Okay, it wasn't necessarily, like, bad. It was just kind of the worst of the G1 movies.
And that's fair. Surprisingly Fire is crazy. But at least you got one right.
Okay, Surprisingly Fire, meaning,
Why
like...
Do Ghouls Fall in Love and
really
Surprisingly Fire?
I really liked Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love.
So how would you say you feel about Monster High now? As a whole.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good answer now.
Ghoulia. Peak. Best character. Smartest character. Coolest character. Got that shit on constantly.
So that was all the Monster High movies. Minus the insanely fire Ever After High crossover movie we were supposed to get that they canceled for some reason and just didn't do. I guess that's fine. Not everybody likes money, but unlike them, I will not be canceling the Ever After High video. That'll happen later. Don't ask me when. Ask the like button when.
And then you'll see us ever after we get the like button. Hi. Wait.
Yeah, I'm silencing women.
What?
I'm sorry.
No!
I have to silence women. So anyway, these videos come out tri-weekly, so, you know, check the upload date, and maybe there's another video up by the time you're watching this. But until then, this has been King Gamma. Thank you for watching me yap about Monster High, and I will see you in the next video.